Welcome to Live Well, Dream Big. I'm Suzanne Monroe, founder of the International Association of Wellness Professionals, where I've been teaching people how to live a life of wellness, tap into their passion, and go for their dreams for over 15 years. I believe living well and dreaming big starts with ourselves. This podcast will show you how to create a healthy, holistic life, empower your mindset, follow your dreams, and make a big impact. Let's dive in right now. Welcome to Live Well, Dream Big. I'm excited for today's episode. Today's episode is a special type of episode, a read aloud, where I'm going to be reading aloud from my book, Live Well, Dream Big, the ultimate guide to becoming your best self and living life on your own terms. And I'm going to be sharing with you some actionable tips and tools as we go along. And really, I want to help you to avoid one of the biggest problems that I see people experiencing today: burnout. Burnout is on the rise. People are more stressed than ever. They're experiencing overwhelm and anxiety, and all of this is mounting and leading to burnout. Now, if you've heard my personal story before, then you know I'm speaking from personal experience here. So we're going to be diving into Wellness 360, which is included in this book, and we're going to be looking at the specific elements that make up Wellness 360 and applying it to burnout, so you can get on with living your best life, feeling more energized, and living well and dreaming big. So join me right now. Hi, everyone. Suzanne Monroe here. I'm excited to be doing a read aloud from my book, Live Well, Dream Big, the ultimate guide to becoming your best self and living life on your own terms. And during our read aloud, I'm going to dive into certain sections of the book and focus on a specific element of Wellness 360 and have a conversation with you about how some of the tips I'm sharing can help you to avoid burnout. They're what I call burnout busters, and to help you get out of stress and start balancing your health and life and really reclaiming your life. Today, we're going to be focusing on the Wellness 360 element of air. And if you aren't familiar with Wellness 360 yet, or you don't have the guidebook, you can get it at the Live Well Dream Big guidebook at iawpwellnesscoach.com/guide. Okay, and you can get your own Wellness 360 wheel and roadmap and the tips that are included. So again, I'm looking at the element of air. And one of the things about Wellness 360 is that every element is made up of 3 layers. So we're going to talk about air and what comprises air. First of all, at the most basic level, our body is alive because of the air we breathe in, right? It's literally our life force and the element that makes it possible for all of the cells in our body to thrive. Now, on the external layer, air represents the air outside, right? That's the external of air. It's air outside, it's nature, and it really also includes our environment, how we treat it. And because how we treat our environment actually impacts the air quality, which then affects our health, right? So we start to make this connection. An environment that is treated poorly, has become unhealthy, will have negative effects on our health. On the flip side, when we lovingly care for our environments, it can have a hugely positive effect on our mental and physical health. Now, while the quality of the air you breathe in is super important, it's also crucial to consider how you're actually doing the physical breathing, right? Most of us breathe kind of from the chest up, but we actually want to breathe from much lower, right? We don't want to take in these short and shallow breaths. We want to be breathing in deeper ways and bringing it up through, starting lower in our gut. And for ultimate health, we really do need to be breathing deeper. Deep breathing helps to calm our nervous system, and slower breathing can de-escalate panic and anxiety, really help us to reduce stress. And as you can see here, begin to avoid burnout just through breathing. Sounds amazing, right? It actually is a big part of it. On the symbolic layer, air represents letting go. And so the symbolic layer is always kind of like, what does that element mean? What's the symbol of it, maybe in your own life? And air, just like the winds of change, right? This is letting go. It's an exhale and a breath is letting go as well. So when you consider this layer, look where you might be resistant to change or holding on too tight to something in your life, maybe that no longer serves you. Letting go can help you reduce stress, find more peace and calm, and open up to new possibilities that are awaiting you. Air is such a vital element in our lives. Let's talk about some burnout busters and how you can bring more balance to your element of air. First of all, as we were talking about, practice deep breathing, right? You can place one hand on your belly. You can do this right now, and the other hand over your heart. And just take a deep breath in through your nose. Allow your belly to push your hand out as your stomach expands, bringing that air from your belly all the way up and then out through your mouth. And you can repeat. Just do this now a few times, or carve out just 1 or 2 minutes a day, right? You could set your alarm and say, okay, I'm going to do this every day at noon or right after lunch or before lunch or whenever. It doesn't have to take a lot of time, but this helps us to reconnect to that breath. And hopefully we start to then breathe that way, make that our normal breath. Also notice when you're holding your breath or not deep breathing. Check in with yourself throughout the day, right? Don't just remind yourself to do the deep breath. Notice when you're not doing it, and notice if you're taking those shorter breaths or deep breaths. Adjust as needed, and consider even beginning a mindfulness practice focused on your breath. You can also get outside in the fresh air regularly. Fresh air is essential. Find time to be outside, including taking breaks from your desk and work. And if you spend a lot of time indoors, consider even getting an air purifier for your home and office. I know for me personally, I have to get outside every day. And if I don't, I just don't feel right. So I always incorporate my movement and exercise outside, no matter what the weather is. I found that as long as I have the right gear, I can be outside. And it's kind of a 2-for-1 benefit. Not only am I getting movement, but I'm enjoying all the sights and sounds, but there's just something so healing and wonderful about being outside, right? It's different than working out on a machine. Now, it might be different for you. Maybe you like to work out that way, but then you want to incorporate some other ways to get outside to experience the element of air, even if it's just for a short time each day. And then finally, do a Wellness 360 check as we do on every element. You want to pop back over to the Wellness 360 wheel. You can consider all of the other elements and how they might be impacting air, because remember, no element acts by itself. They're all interconnected. They all have 3 layers, and each of those layers is intertwined with the other ones. So let's take a look at that after I get a drink of water. Let's see, how could air be impacted by the other elements? Well, let's just take some examples. Well, first of all, if you're not getting outside with that element of air, it could impact the element of sun, where you're then not getting the appropriate vitamin D levels, right? So that's very simple. If you're not doing deep breathing and really reducing the stress in your body, that could in fact impact the element of your mindset, right? So you can see how all of these things are really connected. If you're not deep breathing, you might be carrying more stress, which could lead you to feel anxious and want to eat certain foods or have certain food cravings. Again, just another example. The point here is that it's unique to you. What are the interconnections that you need to discover? Take a minute to consider that after listening in here and see if that can be supportive to you. Finally, I just want to share with you that a great story in the book is from Eileen Franco, who really learned to tap into her own element of air and to learn how to let go through all the transitions that were going on in her life. And she really talks about how she had forgotten who she was. She went through many transitions in life to becoming a wife and a mother, and went on this corporate executive journey. And suddenly she found that as a wife and a mother and employee, there was just so many others to take care of and little time for herself. And she kind of lost herself a little bit on that journey, which can happen, right? But it doesn't mean that we can't make a change. She didn't know where she wanted to be, but she knew she needed to let go in order to get there. When she worked with the element of air, some amazing things really happened for her. You can hear about her story. Now she says she's grown so much. She's not the same person she was when she began this Wellness 360 journey. Going through transitions in life is not optional, but suffering through them is. I love that story from Eileen. Take a look at the guidebook and you can learn more about her story. And for now, think about how you can apply this burnout buster to your life. We talked about several options today when it comes to the element of air. You don't have to do them all, okay? Choose one that you're going to do next for just this week, okay? Might be that you're going to check in on that breathing. It might be that you're going to mindfully breathe for 1 minute a day, right? Because then maybe the next day we do 2 minutes. And what happens is these tiny shifts, they start to add up. They really do. And that's how transformation occurs as we on the Wellness 360 journey. I've seen it over and over again for thousands of people. And I encourage you to take your first step. Okay. And we'll see you back here next time. Thank you for joining me for today's episode of Live Well, Dream Big. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. And I want to invite you to take your next step toward living well and dreaming big by downloading the Live Well, Dream Big lifestyle book. It's the ultimate guide to becoming your best self and living life on your own terms. You can grab your complimentary copy by going to the link in the show notes or heading directly to iawpwellnesscoach.com/guide. That's iawpwellnesscoach.com/guide.